Today's painting is Christ and the Samaritan woman at the well, oil on panel. Our painting today tells the story of Christ's encounter with the Samaritan woman at the well. He's walking from Judea to Galilee, and he stops by Jacob's well for a drink of water. There he encounters a Samaritan woman who is herself drawing water from the well, and he asks her to give him a drink. Eventually, he reveals himself to be the Messiah. She, believing him, goes off to the town to tell people that she has encountered the Messiah. This was a popular subject during Renaissance painters, and our painting today was probably a shutter of an altarpiece. It's rather high and rather narrow, and gives the impression that it was fastened to the shutter of a closing altarpiece. Perhaps an altarpiece showing various scenes from the life of Christ. In our painting, we see the moment where Christ is giving his blessing to the Samaritan woman, and she, her head bowed, is receiving it. Christ has one hand raised in blessing and another hand resting on the well itself. The Samaritan woman, her head bowed toward Christ, is holding in her hands the jug that she is using to hold the water that she is drawing from the well. The painting illustrates the concept, as does the Bible passage from John, of living water. And the Gospel of John contrasts the well's water, which is necessary for human sustenance, with living water that Christ is giving to the woman of Samaria. And the living water is water that nourishes our spirit. In other words, Christ and belief in Christ is the living water. You need the actual water from the well for your body, but far more important is the living water that Christ gives the woman by revealing himself to her as the Messiah, and that she receives by believing that. So we have our pictures, we have our figures in the foreground, but in the background of the painting is even more impressive. We see a dramatic Italianate landscape, hilltops capped by castles. We see hazy, misty river valleys, and we see wonderful hilltops. All of this is rendered with superb realism by the artist. Our painting is attributed to the Flemish artist active in the 16th century, Jan van Scorel. Jan van Scorel was one of the so-called Antwerp Romanist school of painters who, though born in Antwerp, traveled to Italy and learned the techniques there. And there you can see it very much in the landscape in the background, which looks Tuscan or certainly Italian in character. Jan van Scorel spent some time in Rome painting and then returned to Antwerp to finish out his career. We don't know whether this painting was painted while he was in Italy or after he had returned to Antwerp, probably the latter. It's a wonderful example of a very unusual story from the Bible in the sense that it appears only in the Gospel of John. And this painting would be a remarkable addition to any collector who is passionate about biblical stories and particularly the symbolism of Christ's ministry.